Okay, we're talking about how your journey was. Now the journey to the corporate space. You graduated, you've entered into the job market. You've started operating. What was the first company that you went in at what level? Entry level, I'll guess.
Yes, I did get in at entry level, but I quickly worked my way to being a core part of the department, of the IT department. Um, I would say I was mid-level.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to be an IT administrator right off the bat.
How long did you work there?
I would say a year. Yeah.
Yeah, then you chose to leave them and head your own way. What was the reason?
My contract had.
Oh, you employed on a contract.
I was on contract, so
okay.
Yeah. My contract was up, and I figured I need to get more experience. Instead of trying to renew that contract, I chose to look for something more out of the role.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which was?
I was able to get somewhere that was doing something similar to what I do. I found a company that was doing IT managed services. This is a company that provides other companies' IT services. So I was able to work with a lot more clients and systems, and this provides more exposure compared to working for a single company. So that was the appeal.
And there, how was the journey navigating that space now that it was a little bit complex than the other role that you had?
It was interesting. I had to do a bit more traveling, but the execution was more or less the same. I did feel like I was. It felt right. Like it felt like this. This was what I was meant to do. It did not feel difficult. It just felt a bit more engaging compared to working for a single organization. When I was working for a single organization, I would almost say I would solve all their problems and then wait for something to come up as an administrator. But when you're working for multiple clients, it feels like there is always something to do. There is you get to be engaged a bit more compared to when you're working for a single organization.
All right. Since you're a hands-on guy.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess then you acquired more skills and experience in that role compared to the previous one.
Yeah, I did. With more clients, you get more exposure, and you also get more inspiration to start your own thing.
Yeah, I want to get into that. Like, how did you now get to start your own thing? After that company, did you go to any other, or you just decided to start your own thing?
I got right into consulting right after that. After that experience, I started consulting for other companies, and I realized I just make it a thing and start a company that does that.
IT consultancy.
Yes.
Well, what are some of the challenges that you encountered along the way setting up the company? I guess, is it an easy entry? The IT industry, is it an easy entry, or in some industries you might find like you have difficulty barriers to enter the market. How was your entry journey into the IT support industry?
The entry was smooth. The only challenge would be growing. For me, growing is the challenge, not entry into the market. Because when you start growing, you start to delegate certain obligations, and you might be pulled in different directions, directions which you have to make a conscious decision on which direction you're willing to go, because as a company you choose a path and stick with it.
Especially as a startup, I'll guess entry for some, they might encounter some obstacles because there are some established business guys that also have those consultancy firms, and you might find that you are limited in scope of operation because nobody knows you at that point, your credibility, and some of the aspects that you actually leaned on might have presented as a challenge that you might now consider, let me try to venture into this particular service and focus on this. Did you encounter such, and how did you navigate?
I wasn't really pulled in any other direction. I've always been laser focused on what I deliver best, and focus on providing value for the thing that I provide. I've been able to get referrals, and if you do a good job of delivering on your service, referrals do come from your existing pool of clients. And that's how I was able to navigate that.
Until you reached a point where you say that you encountered the growth is the problem. So referral, then the growth problem.
Yeah, with growth, I get to have to do sales in order to grow. So sales is what kind of falls outside of my wheelhouse. So that's why it feels like a challenge.
Feels like a challenge, not one.
I'm pretty sure putting my mind to it means that I will have it handled.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just not looking to be pulled away from my core provision.
But did you find like maybe entry, still on the entry aspect, like a startup or an IT startup firm, you find like there's not much support for you guys out there in terms of maybe government scrapping some of the fees that you have to pay, registration, and maybe just giving you the capital, access to some of the loan capital to venture into that field. Was such an issue to you?
Not really. In the service business, you don't really need a lot of capital to get started.
But say if you had enough capital, will you like employ the marketing person that you'll want, because you said that's a little bit out of your scope?
Yes, absolutely.
Then we'll say you still need adequate funding to accomplish some of these things that you're looking forward to achieving and conquer that stumbling block of growth.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with you on that.
So say now you registered your company. What's the name of the company, and how did you start off with the services that you specialize in?
I registered the Jujari technologies. And how do you mean start off?
Like someone start up, okay, you set up a company, and you start looking around and say, okay, I need to specialize on this and this and this because of the market that I'm going for. So just like the specialty, when you started, what did you specialize in before the other services? I'll guess, what was the major aspect that you looked to venture in?
I was looking to provide IT support, essentially remote IT support. I had experienced the need for the what one of my previous employer called firefighting. They didn't want to do the firefighting in the department, so I figured this would be something which I enjoy doing, so I could do that. So that was my main focus area, getting into setting up my own franchise.
Wow. And what are the other services? What other services were you providing along the way that you maybe expanded to start providing?
Services such as IT administration and software system deployments. These are fairly new. With the hardware diagnosis is part and parcel of IT support.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the extent of your growth and business-wise in provision of these services, are they in line with some of the qualifications or the way you acquire knowledge, capacity building, then you go start offering this service, or did you just, were your education background sufficient enough to cover for these services, or you had to add more certification to enable you to venture into some of the other services that you are providing?
I did get more certification, although I had a pretty good baseline for what I do. I did get certification in Microsoft 365 and IT management called ITEL, and networking, Cisco networking. I was able to get certifications on those aspects, which augment the core skills that I have.
All right. And this, whatever you acquired now, help you to familiarize with various platforms and, I'll say, technologies. What are some of these platforms and technologies that you ended up now working with as a company?
For Microsoft 365, it augments our ability to work to support the Windows environment. We are able to provide support for platforms such as Azure. It's a cloud service. There is Microsoft 365 Office for cloud. It's a cloud service as well. There is other environments such as the Linux environment. We also support that in the administration capacity for the server side, and the Mac OS environments, we are able to support the endpoints.
Wonderful. Now that you have all that gear, I think you're well prepared to go to and hit the first rock running. So get the water out of it, per se. So now, these companies, when you're pursuing now to get some of these clients, what are some of the clients that you're looking up to, interacting with, or appealing to?
Essentially, we just want clients who truly appreciate the value of someone taking care of their environment and their users. Our hope is to provide as much value as we can to the people using the technology, and making sure the technology is providing as much value as it can to the users.
So you don't have any particular criteria for selecting your client?
No, any user of technology is our client.
Mm-hmm. So I can be your client.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's nice to hear. Some of these guys out there, they look for a particular set of qualities in a client. So the number of items that are in the household, in order for the person to come and actually dedicate their service to you.
Uh-huh.
So if you are to speak to someone out there, appealing to them to come to receive services from you, what sets you apart from all the rest?
I haven't. I don't know about my competitive advantage as such. What I do know is my passion for supporting my client. I essentially root for my client to win. When I'm listening to my client, I try to figure out exactly what their pain point is, so that I can deliver as much value as there possibly can be. And by addressing the specific pain point, not just what seems to be on the surface, I get to deliver more value, or the most value possible. I would say that could be my competitive advantage.
So that should make me come to you. If I was to come to you, I'll be satisfied with the services you are providing.
Yes, customer satisfaction is very important to us. Um, we also do try to deliver as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will I get my money back if at all you worked on my product and I find like it did not meet my satisfaction level? Or
You're asking about money back guarantee.
like, no, I'm just asking whether
Getting your money's worth for your investment.
yeah, I guess because with IT, the thing about autonomy makes it quite the pricing aspect and getting to a level where you can actually be satisfied per se.
You're saying it's difficult for you to discern the amount of value that I've put in by providing a service to you.
Now you can provide a service, but then you find like it's come with various other challenges. Say someone called you up to just install a Windows environment in their laptop, a brand new.
Uh-huh.
So you set it up, but then they start realizing it's not working optimally, and they're not also aware. They were not aware that their system may be
system requirements.
Yeah, the system requirements. So they start going through that, grappling with the operation that you have done. So what happens then if the client is actually, you've done your service, they told you to install this and you did it, but then they start encountering some difficulties?
First and foremost, we do a sort of reconnaissance on the platform which we are going to work on. If someone is asking for an operating system on a device, I have to look up at the system specs of that specific device and figure out its compatibility with the operating system they are asking for. I wouldn't install a high-end operating system on a low-end device. Basically, compatibility is one of the basics which we have to ensure in order to provide the service. The only time such an issue would arise if there was some kind of fault in the hardware.
Okay.
And if there is fault, will be able to catch it during the same reconnaissance.
All right.
Yeah.
So I should rely on your diagnostic capabilities and problem solving to be able to make that, to be satisfied that whatever you provided is satisfactory.
Yes.
Because in most cases the client might not actually necessarily know all these details.
They would not. However, it's my duty to do the due diligence of ensuring the smooth sailing or the smooth execution of that operation. That's why it's my specialty. It's not the client's job to know this would go right. It's my job to know and inform the client. If I find fault in the hardware, for example, I should be able to inform the client where the problem is and advise them on how to proceed.
All right. Then I think that being said, one will still argue like some of the things that might make a client be at rest will be your compliance to some of the regulations that are within your space of operation, and whether you are actually satisfied to do whatever that you're undertaking. It can make someone like me, who doesn't know much about tech, to be satisfied no matter what. So are you actually compliant with some of the laws, and what are these that you are compliant with so far?
We do have compliance with ethics and privacy laws. I do have certification in IT management, which is a form of compliance. It's international, but it also applies to the local laws. The other compliance is just to adhere to the practices of handling data in a secure manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about some of the acts and privacy and confidentiality things to do with the Kenyan Data Act?
We have compliance with that.
All right.
We are compliant.
Okay, then let's talk money. How much will you charge for? Do you have, how is your model? Do you have those packages you offer pricing according to packages, or how is your pricing model structured?
We do have a structure for organization based on the size of their system and number of users. We also have some specific services, the one-off services for clients who are a pay as you go type clients. So yeah, we do have pricing models.
Okay, so no fixed rate.
Specific services may have, let's say, specific costs. Yeah.
And that might introduce the aspect of hidden charges.
No, they are specific to those specific services. The only time that something would seem like a hidden cost is if, say, a client had some hardware which had some fault, and they were asking for something else on top of that, or to be installed on that hardware. If you have to fix the fault or replace a component in the hardware, it may seem like a hidden cost, but that's just the cost of repairing that hardware.
All right. Okay, now to finalize on this, what are some of the things that you might tell somebody trying to venture into this space of operation?
I think this space is a service business, and with service business, you always want to provide the most value to your clients. Providing the most value to your clients makes them your fans. Your clients become your fans root for you, and that would enable you to grow as a business.
All right. No challenges so far. Just
we do have challenges. One challenge may be attracting the right talent, but that just may apply to those who have a certain set of standard to adhere to. Someone who has, if you have high standards, if you set high standards for yourself, you'd want people who have a similar level of standard. So that could be a bit of a challenge, but it's not unexpected. It's something you'd know going in.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I think that will do. So just a bonus question. Si nyinyi mlihack Tanzania?
We are not in the hacking business as much as it sounds like fun. We would love to do that, but we are not. We don't have time for legalese. Yeah.
Why do I feel like my intuition is telling me this guy is lying?
There could be someone within the circle of IT people. I couldn't speak for the entire scope of the IT people. Could I now?
I guess not.
Yeah.
All right.